Please may stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any changes to tonight's agenda?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, you've all received our council minutes from our last meeting on June 8th. If there's no comments, I'll accept the motion to receive the minutes.
Councilman Holland, Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Councilman McCoy, I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, okay, it's unanimous. And you also received the minutes from the budget workshop of June 1st. If there are no questions or comments, I'll accept the motion to receive the minutes.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman McCoy, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
Councilman Henderson, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, okay, it's unanimous. Okay, do we have any correspondence?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, we do have a public hearing at 7:05, so in respect to our time, we'll keep moving forward. So first, under new business, we have the Parks and Recreation Committee. That list is in your packet. All the names are listed. We always appreciate people who are willing to volunteer and serve on these committees, but if there are no questions or comments on the names appointed to this committee, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Holland, Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Continue.
I'll make the motion to approve recommendation of Mayor Genshaw to appoint Parks and Recreation Committee as presented.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. We'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Santos.
Aye.
Councilman Henderson.
Aye.
Councilman Holland.
Aye.
Councilman McCoy.
Aye.
Councilman Kane.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I got chuckled on the deep pitch. It caught me a little off guard there. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we have the appointment of Christine Wands to the election office. If there aren't any questions or comments, I'll accept the motion there.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman McCoy, I'll make the motion to approve the recommendation of Mayor Genshaw to appoint Christine Wands as election official to replace Alice Messick as presented.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Councilman Holland, I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you. We'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Holland.
Aye.
Councilman McCoy.
Aye.
Councilman Kane.
Aye.
Councilman Santos.
Aye.
Councilman Henderson.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
could we just take a moment to thank Alice for taking
Sure.
the time?
Yep. Yeah,
Just want to take a few minutes to thank her.
She was, she's one that served, and we were really asking her to serve in other areas. Unfortunately, you have to live in town when you do those things. So, but we really do appreciate all of our volunteers and Alice for her work and support of the city and the things we're doing. She's been a great sponsor, that's for sure. All right. We could do that, please.
So, June Merritt, Director of Finance, will be acting City Manager from June 26, 21 till July 5th, 2021. Please give her your support. The Oyster House Park ribbon cutting will be on July 1st, 2021 at 10 a.m. south end of Cannon Street on the Nanticoke River. I know a lot of you are signed up. It really is looking nice. City Hall and utility divisions will be closed July 5th in observance of the Independence holiday. The 26th Annual Nanticoke River Fest will be held in downtown Seaford Saturday, July 10th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And tomorrow evening here at City Hall, there's the Martin Farms Public Information Meeting to discuss an electric project at 7 p.m. That'll be chaired by Councilman McCoy. That's
Okay.
all I have.
Okay, great. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and close our regular meeting and open up the public hearing, and I'll turn it over to our building official, Mr. Mike Bailey.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We just have one item on the agenda for the public hearing this evening, and that is for Opportunity Street LLC. They're seeking the final site plan review and approval for a proposed 153-space parking lot at 1700 Delaney Street and a 535-space parking lot at 200 Allen Street with utility expansions, lighting, landscaping, and stormwater maintenance in support of the WDE1 project, which is Amazon. For 1700 Delaney Street, the tax map parcel number is 531-12.00-45.03, and 200 Allen Street is tax map parcel 531-12.00-48.00. Brock Park Parker and Will Canota will both be here from Parker and Associates if there's any questions later on. So this is just a picture of the building that Amazon's looking to move into. They're on Delaney Street, formerly housed in Kenco warehousing. This is a shot from Google Earth. The red outlined is 1700 Delaney Street. That's the actual building there, the big box there in the middle. And the blue one is 200 Allen Street, and they're proposing a very large parking lot on that one, as well as the on 1700 Delaney Street, where there's currently grass. It will most of it will be parking area and stormwater bound. This is the final site plan we received. There are some minor changes to this from what you all saw last time. Parking spaces stay the same at 153 and 535. They have rearranged some of the stormwater ponds. There's now 3 ponds. They've removed 1 and added 2. They're on the 200 Allen Street. There's a large one in the middle, and the 2 new ones are over on the right-hand side of that image. The one closest to the water tower has been removed based on comments from the city's engineer. They will need comment or approvals from State Fire Marshal, which they do have, Sussex Conservation and the city engineer both are for stormwater. This is just a closer shot there of the 1700 Delaney property. Most of what you're looking at there is on the right-hand side. There's parking lot. There is a minor building addition. It's a covered parking area for their loading area and charging of their electric vehicles. They are going to relocate a gravel alley that's existing. It's actually on their property. They're going to move it back into the city right-of-way. And they will connect this building to the city water and sewer and cut it loose from the rest of the complex there. It's all kind of tied together, so they don't have their own utilities there and electric. They're going to run electric to that too. This is the site plan we received. This is the 200 Allen Street. It's got 535 parking spaces there. 3 ponds. There's a large one right in the middle, and 2 smaller ones over to the right-hand side of that picture. They removed the pond closest to the water tower based on a request from GMB. And the council is going for approval a portion of the parking lot in the wellhead safe area, which is the reason why that pond was removed, because it was also in that safe area, and GMB didn't feel comfortable with it there as far as infiltration and stuff. So then, like I said, they added 2 ponds to alleviate the need for that third one by the water tower. This is a zoomed-in picture there. It shows the wellhead safe zone. It's a red circle. Just a small portion of that parking lot was within that area, and I highlighted the section of code there that says council can approve structures or developments in that safe area. So it's part of this presentation this evening.
Okay, real quick, Mike, if this were to get approved tonight, how soon would construction start and how long would it last?
They want to start as soon as possible.
Would you mind coming up to the mic just so we can get it recorded and people can hear?
Will Canota with Parker and
Thank you.
Associates. Their intention is to get started right away. We are awaiting, like you said, Sussex Conservation District approval, and as of tomorrow morning, we believe we will be almost done with that.
Okay.
So as soon as we get that letter, we'll be sending it in. And then we talked to the engineer this afternoon, your city engineer this afternoon, and he's waiting for one small thing, and he's ready to sign off as well. So as far as time,
Okay.
I mean, they're ready to roll. I mean, they've got
Okay.
their contractors lined up. and
Okay,
everything.
so by fall, things will be
Yeah,
fine. How about
they
that?
want to be here, so.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions from council? Councilman Henderson?
Mike, could you go back to the site plan showing the blown-up plans showing the watershed? That area to the south and west, I guess, of the water tower, is that a turf area or is it? That's not paved because there's no parking lot. Am I
When
wrong?
you go back to the Google Earth, they may show what you can see. It's kind of cut off, but yeah, there is some
Is it
green
to
space.
remain turf or landscaped area?
Everything outside of that blue, what's highlighted, is going to stay as is.
Well, what's inside of it, if you show the parking lot plan.
Councilman, I
if you-
think for
if you
clarity,
blow it up,
yeah, there's a 100-foot radius around the wellhead that's meant to stay undeveloped, is the idea.
Right.
So the engineer placed that line, if you'll go back to the blow-up there for us, Michael.
Yes.
So the engineer placed that on there, and as the building official stated, the original plan that council reviewed had a stormwater management pond there.
I understand that. My question is that area in the corner, is it
Yes,
turf?
yes, that will
Yes.
remain
or
undisturbed.
It's going to be pervious
Yes.
material?
Yeah, it's just a small piece of the parking lot there, maybe 8 or 9 parking spaces in that driveway.
Please,
So, during the original plan, the pond sat right here,
yes.
and about half of this little parking lot drained to this pond, and just this corner drained there. So what we've done is we went ahead and just curved this, so no water will be getting into that circle.
Excellent.
They're going into these inlets and being piped back to the big pond, which is outside of the well protection
Right.
area. And then, previously stated, the 2 ponds that we've added on the end are for recharging, they're for groundwater recharge. They're clean areas, we're not using them for stormwater, it's just recharge only, so it's for your groundwater.
So,
We felt by taking that out, that was probably the most critical thing. With anything draining there, there's no chance anything infiltrating into the groundwater. And with putting the curb, now everything goes to the new pond, away from it.
so just for my curiosity, it has no bearing on my support for this project, but the large pond, is there a weir that just runs water over to the recharge ponds? How does that work?
Is there a what?
A weir?
Outlet control structure.
Using those fancy terms.
So, this parking lot drains to a pipe right here, it comes into the pond, it's cleaned in this forebay.
Okay,
This whole section is drained to this forebay. And then right here, there's an outfall structure with weirs and stuff for each of the storm levels. That'll exit into your existing 48-inch storm drain, which pipes it to the creek.
okay. Thank you very much.
So not only a public hearing, but an education. A weird, got it. Other questions from council? Councilman McCoy?
Mike, you mentioned relocate the gravel road.
Yes.
Relocate it where, and what does that process look like?
Well, there's an existing alley up on the 1700 Delaney Street side. I
Okay.
guess over the years it has migrated, drifted over onto their property. So they're just moving it, relocating it back onto the city right of way, as it
Okay.
should be.
I appreciate it. Thank you for clarifying.
We're going to recommend the stones there, and then we're going to add new stones on top of it, slide it back.
10-4, thank you.
Other questions from council? Councilman Santos?
This is also for informational purposes. It's only, can you explain the safe zone a little bit more to me so that next time I see something similar, I better understand?
Yeah. The idea is there's a radius around the well where it should all be impervious or pervious surface where rainwater and groundwater can get back and re-energize the well. We have it in our code where nothing is to be developed in that without council approval.
Okay. And the way that this is set up, there will be no risk to that well? No. Okay.
No, they're keeping some of the green space there and the parking lot wall draining to the big pond. Away from the site.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other, Councilman King?
Thank you, sir. So with the large volume of new traffic, I mean, we've had traffic there years ago. Is there any type of signage or anything for the neighbors to put in that area?
For the development itself, we're not using any signs. For additional signs, we're going to do, there doesn't have to be anything asked for.
Well, the reason I'm asking is a residential area,
Yeah, let me
there's
just
a lot of
add.
kids and stuff playing out there, so I just know if there's anything.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, Councilman. Currently signed into the residential area on Delaney Street is no trucks on all of those roads, those interconnecting roads, and parking lots that exit 200 Allen Street as well as 1700 Delaney Street going into the residential area. But I will say Delaney Street itself is on the truck route, was designed as such because of Kenco, the traffic in there. But the truck route requires them, except for local deliveries, to go out Delaney to Stein Highway to the east-west corridor, and from there stay on the truck route as necessary. So when we did an internal review, we asked them, as the engineer said, place stop bars, stop signs to control traffic out on Delaney Street. But because of the existing use, we felt there was enough signage and enforcement capabilities into the existing residential area. If that answers your question.
Sure, and so I guess just to kind of piggyback
Yes, sir.
off that, is there the communication with the organization saying, hey, this is how the truck route is designed, this is the purpose of the truck route, so on and so forth, has that conversation taken place?
It has not. We're dealing with the developer currently who's working with the tenant, which will be Amazon. But that's a good suggestion. Once Amazon gets in, we meet those people. That's something certainly the Economic Development Director and myself and the mayor can meet with them. And if they have any questions or anything like that, we can certainly provide them a copy, introduce them to the chief as well. So if they have any other enforcement or security questions, we can do that as well.
Great, thank you. Yes, sir.
Majority of the traffic in this facility versus traffic. Yes, traffic will be coming out to obviously the facility. Most of those stuff, they will operate. When there's very the same. We have several hours to get out to the traffic.
Thank you.
Other questions from council? And there is no one here from the public. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and reopen our regular meeting, 7:18.
Thank you. These are the findings of facts for tonight's agenda. Public project is Opportunity Street LLC, final site plan review. The owners are Opportunity Street LLC. Property's location is 1700 Delaney Street and 200 Allen Street. Tax map and parcel is 531-10.00-45.03 and 48.00. Current zoning is M1 Light Industrial, and they're providing 153 parking spaces at 1700 Delaney, 535 on 200 Allen Street, for a total of 688. They're adding in a canopy to the existing building, and they're connecting the existing building to city water, sewer, and electric. They're moving an existing gravel road into the city right-of-way, and on-site stormwater management improvements on both sites, including 3 ponds on 200 Allen Street. Council is to make an approval for the construction of a portion of the parking lot within the 100-foot safe zone of the well, and it requires the approval of Sussex Conservation, State Fire Marshal, which they have, and the city's engineer for stormwater, and planning and zoning made a favorable recommendation to council on the June 3rd meeting.
Okay, I'll accept the motion.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Councilman King, I will make a motion to approve the request of Opportunity Street LLC for a final site plan approval of parking lot expansion, new parking area, additional utility expansion, lighting, landscaping, and stormwater management in support of the WDE1 project for 1700 Delaney Street, tax map and parcel number 531-12.00-45.03 and 200 Allen Drive, tax map and parcel number 531-12.00-48.00 as presented.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Councilman, I'll go all the way to.
Councilman Holland, I make that motion.
Okay, are there any questions on the motion? All right, if not, we'll do a roll call. Everybody good? Okay, all right, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Henderson?
Yes, based on findings of facts.
Councilman Santos?
Yes, based on findings of facts.
Councilman Holland?
Yes, based on findings of fact.
Councilman McCoy?
Yes, based on findings of facts.
Councilman King?
Yes, based on findings of facts.
Passed unanimously. Thank you, guys, for all your hard work on this.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. All right, next we have the revision of the compensation policy. Are you leading that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. So council has in their package the existing compensation policy that has been adopted and updated from time to time. You'll see there the suggested revision. It's short, so we'll read it into the record. Pay for non-contract sworn officers. Non-contract sworn officers' rates of pay shall be evaluated by the city manager periodically and adjusted to maintain equity in the salary structure and permit additional increases beyond the general employee's salary adjustment if warranted by contract negotiations as determined by the city manager. So this is the suggested language to modify the compensation policy adopted by the city. Certainly, we can try to answer any questions council may have.
Okay, are there any questions in regards to this change? If not, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Henderson. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the revision to the compensation policy that addresses pay for non-contract sworn officers as presented.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Councilman Saginaw,
No,
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. We'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Henderson?
Aye.
Councilman Santos?
Aye.
Councilman King?
Aye.
Councilman McCoy?
Aye.
Councilman Holland? Okay, it's unanimous. A little giddy tonight, a little punchy. All right. All right, we've done reminders meetings. We'll go to committee reports. We'll start off with Councilman Santos with administration IT.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report has been submitted in its entirety. And there's a few meetings that the city had over the past couple of weeks. They met with Bel Air Multifamily Development to discuss parking concerns. As the development has been growing, there's been some concerns with parking, and they're working on that right now. Tricia met with the Economic Development Director of Milford. They just got a position very similar to ours, and so she was meeting with them, trying to, I think, show them what we do here.
Not everything, but just some
Not
of the
everything,
things.
but yeah. They met with the KRM and members of the Seaford Historical Society about potential development of the Western Sussex Business Campus. They talked about maybe putting a buffer between the business park and the Ross Mansion. They made inspections to the progress of the Oyster House project. I believe that's finished. Yeah, Charles. Close. Oh, it looks almost finished to me. Mayor, council, and staff attended the EOC tour this past week, where we learned, I learned quite a bit during that meeting. I learned that the city, whenever you call the 911 center, they ask the location, the name, and the emergency, and they'll still continue talking to you over the phone. But but as soon as they get those 3 facts, they've already dispatched someone, and it takes 45 seconds to get someone dispatched, as opposed to the state police, where it takes 2 to 3 minutes. Let's see. For the IT report, they continued work on police department command vehicle overhaul project. They set up laptops and servers. Police, they installed and mounted body-worn BW cameras, docks, and temporarily wired up and installed and painted board mount to the equipment. We are still negotiating with the Teamsters, and I believe that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, police and fire, Councilman Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to hit the highlights of this report. It's quite lengthy. There were 61 calls for fire service in June so far.
There are 220 calls for EMS service so far for June this year, and that's for a total number of calls of 2,172 for 2021, for an average of 12.6 calls per day. The fire department was very busy on June 10th. There was a storm with multiple calls in the district. There were 13 responses in a 4-hour period, so that really stretched the service. They were quite busy that day. Under apparatus, ambulance A87 is out of service, or was out of service, for electrical stretcher issues. And a fact-finding committee has been placed into service to recommend a replacement ladder truck for the future. The committee is chaired by Deputy Chief Reed and will forward the recommendation to specification committee once completed. We're looking at, it says FY 21-22, but I think our conversation is FY 23 for that replacement. We have a new hire in EMS. His name is Eric Uphold. If you encounter him, please welcome him to the department. He has a firefighter EMT position. He's currently from Frankfurt Fire Company, and he's going through his probationary period on EMS and fire training. New ambulance B87 is still being constructed, and all processes are going well at this time. There are photos on social media. If you go on the Seaford Fire Department website or Facebook page, you'll be able to see those photos of the progress. The new EMS station 110/200 will be having a grand opening on Friday, June 11th, 2021 at 1100 hours, and lunch will be served. So all are welcome to attend. Pardon me. Under training, they had a water rescue evolutions training session on June 16th. There were 10 members present for that training. And there is a new training schedule for the next 6 months that's being developed, and it will be posted in the near future. Under other news and events, there was a meeting at Bel Air for the Bel Air developers and the city to discuss the parking plan. As you may know, the streets are very narrow in that area. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, can you scoot up closer to your mic? We have a citizen who can't hear what you're saying, so I'm getting a message.
My apologies.
That's okay.
Where did I lose him?
Jack, you'll have to let us know where we lost you, so just...
Okay. It is printed in its entirety. My apologies.
You can read it all.
Read it all.
I called him out, so now I'll hear back on that.
So, the members of the department attended the merit graduation at the Boys and Girls Club on the 12th. Engine 87.5 was involved with the drive-by parade, and they assisted the police, the Seaford Youth Police Academy, with a discussion on fire and EMS operations. And we also did a fire prevention and recruitment talk with a church group at 800 Fleetwood. I think that was associated with Grace Church. That was on June 16th. Move on to police. My apologies. You'll see the chart there with year-over-year statistics and the 21 year-to-date statistics. For the period of June 7th to June 20th, we had 233 total criminal complaints. We had an 84% clearance rate. You'll see the crime view stats showing the days of the week and the time of day that the
of the occurrences. Moving down to drug complaints, there were 17 drug complaints, 16 adult arrests, and 1 pending active arrest. Under search warrants, there was a search warrant presented at North Arch Street extended for a child abuse case, which resulted in the seizure of firearms, paraphernalia, and $2,928 in U.S. currency. So that's. There's a complaint there, and I don't believe it's closed yet. They responded to 1 overdose during the period. Under traffic, they had 300 traffic contacts, resulting in 57 citations and 7 warnings, 2 DUIs, and 27 crashes. And you will be able to see in the crime view chart, you'll be able to see the time of day, or the days of the week and the time of days. It looks like Thursday's the big day. Okay. You'll see a number of significant events, which you'll probably read about in the papers, but you can also read about them here. Under administration, the administration has been very busy. Especially, there have been some meetings around the body-worn cameras. It's not in this report. However, I can report to you that the body-worn cameras have arrived. All the charging stations have been mounted and installed. Actually, I believe the in-car cameras are being installed if they're not already installed. So what's left is training. So there's going to be several weeks before we can fully implement the cameras, because there has to be some training that goes on and probably go on to probably implemented in July or August where they'll flip the switch. You can see where the department's been busy. Myself and Mayor and several, Councilman McCoy, and even Charles participated in a torch run where we ran what seemed like 10 miles, but it was only a few hundred yards in support of Special Olympics. Oh, do we have a picture, huh? Oh. No, we have. This is a different picture. This is, and I would like to share that. We had the Youth Academy graduation. They had a week-long Youth Academy where they had. I don't have the number down here. I think it was 15. I can't count from here, but over a dozen Seaford children, not children, actually. Young men and women participated in the Youth Academy. That's the picture with the chief there. And I've got a couple quotes here from parents of the participants, and I'll read them out loud. It says, "So when the kid who used to hate cops says, 'I wish that was more than just a week,' that's winning, my friend. Thank you. You do an amazing job." And the second quote from another parent of an attendee says, "You all did an amazing job, at least with my kiddo. She's been programmed her whole life that cops are her enemy, so it makes me very happy to know that we've changed that." So we're making headway with the youth in the community. So with that concludes my report.
Got the opportunity to visit with those youth the first morning, and they were out doing calisthenics, and they were tough on them. They were tough. They're very disciplined. One wore a cup on her hat, and so they made her explain, 'cause I had to ask, why is the cup on your hat? She had forgotten her hat a couple days, so that was part of but it was an amazing, interesting group of young people, the questions they asked, and really a treat that really makes you think you want to get your kid involved, and that they do a great job.
If I could add, the police academy, or the Citizens Police Academy is ongoing right now. They're in their second week. So, that's going to go on for several more weeks. So we'll have a ceremony.
We'll have another
at the end of it.
graduation. Yeah, very good.
The mayor did do push-ups with the youth academy as well. Few, very few.
Next, we're going on to codes, Parks and Rec.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, okay, they're busy doing routine inspections for ongoing projects, and he had issued 331 permits thus far for 2021. Construction on Wawa is still in progress. The third classroom building is framed up at Montessori School, and demos are complete, and all the work is routine. And I will switch heads to Parks and Recs, and they completed 7 work orders, improved streets along High Street and Riverwalk, submitted 2 grants to ORPT, Outdoor Parks, Recreation and Trails, grant through State of Delaware for park and Riverwalk projects, completed both youth spring soccer leagues and first ever youth pickleball clinic, both received well, and they held the 4th Riverfest committee meeting, currently working on logistics and advertising. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. For those of you that are experiencing static online, we are trying to figure out what's going on with that, but we appreciate it. We think we've figured it out, but we're on it. But we appreciate you making us aware. Next, we'll go on to electric. Councilman McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hit a few of the highlights here on the report. Since the last report, the crew has continued to work in Melanie's Ridge. Greg Brook and Nick Smart went to meter school, and those two seem to be doing an awful lot for the electric department. So you see them, give them a hand, because they are going above and beyond. They hung the arm at the old Salvation Army building to transfer power from DP&L. Our director had his standard director's meeting, staff meeting, and council liaison meeting, and reviewed the new website with Sierra and Tricia. Over the course of the upcoming weeks, they're going to continue the inventory count, continue working at the Wawa, add a second transformer at Eastern Shore Metals, and apparently Bill's going to take a vacation. I'm not sure who approved that, but he's going to be off, but Bill deserves the vacation, works real hard. And not necessarily my department per se, but a quick shout out to Chief Jack Wilson for assisting with the merit graduation. I know Councilman Henderson mentioned it. Always going above and beyond to help young people. When the merit program, John Hollis reached out, and I'm very appreciative he took time to do so. So that has been my report, and it's been submitted in its entirety.
Okay, thank you very much. And finally, we have Public Works Wastewater Treatment. Councilman King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report has been submitted in its entirety. I'm just going to take a few minutes to hit some of the highlights. I'll start with the Public Works Department. And as everyone knows, we had a lot of big rain over the last couple of weeks. Some of that being said, a lot of flooding. So the Public Works Department has responded to a tremendous amount of flooding. Actually had to bring in some outside contractors to help with some areas that had sunk sinkholes. So we had some sinkholes on Spruce Street and sinkholes on Church Street. With that being said, the Montessori School entrance project has started. The Public Works Department is spending a tremendous amount of time picking up large piles of limb. We had a great conversation at our liaison meeting, and so Burley and Charles and myself are kind of in the beginning stages on sending some communication out to the residents in our community. It seems like a lot of people are getting trees, some people getting trees cut down from outside contractors, and they're just leaving everything on the street. And so the city's very specific on the regulations and rules that we have in place on what that should look like. So there's more to come on that, but spending a tremendous amount of time and energy on picking up limbs throughout our community. They still have one out on Medical. I'll jump over to the wastewater treatment facility and compost. They are receiving all flow from Bridgeville and Greenwood, which is a good thing. Plant performance remains good. They're still working on the membrane replacement. The county is picking up the sludge, and everything's going well with that. Some of the projects that they're going to be working on over the next 2 weeks, they have to repair a water leak on Canning near High Street. They're going to cut in a valve to West Seaford Elementary School. They're going to continue to paint curbs, repair cleanouts on the smoke testing list, and replace fire hydrants. And with that, Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. I do want to send out a thank you to everybody. I know the last couple of weeks have been incredibly busy, and lots are going on. Lots of things are happening all over the place, so I appreciate everybody's work on that. So with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Councilman McCoy, so moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Good night.